What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my prize picks breakdown for UFC 293. We have Sean Strickland going against Israel Adesanya.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
And we're back for another prize picks breakdown. This week we are breaking down a pay-per-view card in UFC 293. Coming off of a pretty good week last week. I personally was like one Farid Basharat takedown away from like a monster night from a prize picks perspective. But yeah, looking forward to this card. There are some things that stick out. I have 8 or 9 plays that we're going to talk about. Before we get into everything, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. That is always much appreciated. If you guys are new to Prize Picks, want to sign up, go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. It helps me, it helps you, and also let me know down in the comments what plays you guys have. Sometimes you guys bring stuff up that I wasn't even considering, and I do enjoy going back and forth in the comments with you guys. So comment down your favorite play if I missed out on it. But yeah, I say we get into it. And we're going to start with the significant strikes, and the first one that I'm going to go with is going to be Alexander Volkov, and this one has moved a little bit. So I got it on Monday at 27.5. It is currently 31.5. But this is about a pick'em in terms of whether or not this fight does go over 1.5 rounds. And if this fight does get extended, I do feel like this is going to easily hit there. This is a guy in Alexander Volkov, who has very good volume, landing almost 5 significant strikes per minute. So if this gets into the second round, I think it's pretty easy that he gets this and hits this more here. Obviously, if there's a first round finish, which I don't really see Volkov, finishing Tai Tuivasa in the first round. I feel like if this is a first round finish, it's probably Tuivasa getting that first round knockout. So yeah, I just think Volkov's going to land a lot of volume here. I don't think Tai Tuivasa's durability is as bad as it may seem coming off of back-to-back knockout losses. He got knocked out by Sergey Pavlovich, who hits like an absolute truck, and then got knocked out by Cyril Gane like late third round. So I think Tai Tuivasa's tough enough to hang in there and absorb at least 32 strikes here. So taking the more for Alexander Volkov. The next one I'm going to go with is going to be Israel Adesanya. I'm going to take the more here, 110.5. Adesanya is a guy that we have 25 minutes to work with here. This is a guy in Adesanya who's landing about 4 significant strikes per minute, and I think this fight does get extended. A lot of people think that Adesanya is going to finish Sean Strickland, and Adesanya's been saying all week that he's going to finish Sean Strickland and potentially even sub him as well. But yeah, I kind of see this fight getting extended, if not going the full 25 minutes here. I think if there is a finish in this fight, it's obviously going to come from the Adesanya side, and I think it'll be later in the fight, 4th, 5th round, and by then, I think Adesanya is going to style on this guy, land a lot of volume, and I think this more is going to hit. It's a lot, 110.5, but 25 minutes to work with, and I think if this does, go the full 25 minutes, I think there's a very good chance he hits this, but even if it gets to the 4th and 5th round, I think he can hit it as well. So give me Israel Adesanya, give me the more on the significant strikes. Other than that, just kind of looking through here. Oberg at 50.5. That's kind of a lot, but yeah, I think that's about it for that. Let's go to fight time. We have the first one that sticks out is going to be the more here on the Alexander Volkov fight time. So 6.5 minutes. Like I said, the over-under is set at 1.5 rounds, 7.5 minutes, and it's about a pick-em. I think even on some books is like shaded to the over. And yeah, like I said, both these guys are very tough. Alexander Volkov, off the top of my head, I think he's been knocked out, maybe once in the UFC, and it was by Derek Lewis. And then as far as Tai Tuivasa, we talked about, he got knocked out by Cyril Gane late in the fight, and then he got knocked out against Sergey Pavlovich. So yeah, I see this fight potentially getting extended, going over 6.5 minutes here, going second round, potentially third round as well. And I don't mind this more on fight time there. The next one is going to be the Justin Tafa. We're going to take the less here on fight time, set at 4.75 minutes. This fight is actually favored to end inside the first round. I think it's like minus 150 for this fight to end in the very first round, which I like that. I think we're getting some value here. This is a fight where, Austin Lane's been finished 3 times. All 3 of those times come in the very first round. I think somebody's getting knocked out here. I lean towards Justin Tafa being the one to go out there and knock out Austin Lane in the first round, but this is a heavyweight fight at the end of the day, and both guys have a lot of power, and we did see Jorgen De Castro knock out Justin Tafa in about a minute. So, yeah, I like the less here. I don't really see this fight getting to the second round. And then next we have Manel Kape. 10 minutes fight time. I'm going to take the less here. He's taken a astronomical step down in competition, and Felipe Dos Santos is taking an astronomical step up in competition. This is a guy, Manel Kape, who made his debut against Alexander Pantoja, who's now the champion. I think Manel Kape's going to have him covered everywhere. I think Manel Kape can even mix in takedowns, use that BJJ black belt, or just simply knock this guy out. Felipe Dos Santos has never been knocked out, but he's never fought anybody anywhere near the caliber of a Manel Kape. Manel Kape's a finisher, 90% finish rate. I think Manel Kape gets it done before that third round starts. And on top of that, Felipe Dos Santos is going to go after it himself. I don't think Santos finishes Kape, but I think Kape does finish Felipe Dos Santos there. And then other than that, not much else sticking out, I'd say. The Turkalj one I'm kind of up in the air about. I think it'd just be those 3 for me. Like the Raki one, don't feel amazing about. But we'll move on to the takedowns here. And there's a couple things that do stick out for the takedowns. The first one is going to be Jamie Mullarkey. 1.5 takedowns, taking the more. So I do feel like Jamie Mullarkey's game plan is going to be to come out there and mix in takedowns, especially after getting knocked out in his last fight. The thing with Makdessi is Makdessi has a very good takedown defense and get-out game especially. So I feel like Jamie Mullarkey can take him down, though. But I feel like if he takes him down, he's getting right back up, which is going to lead to more takedowns. For what it's worth, Jamie Mullarkey lands about 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. We're getting it at 1.5 here. I think the more is a very solid look this week. One of my more favorite plays, I'd say. And then I'm going to also take the... Let's see here. I'm going to take the Jack Jenkins, the more on takedowns as well. I think he wrestles here. This is a guy in Jack Jenkins who has 9 takedowns between the Contender Series and UFC as well. On the Contender Series, he had 4 takedowns. He had 4 takedowns in his debut against Don Shainis as well. And this is a fight against Chepe Mariscal, who I think he takes him down. We saw Sean Soriano outside the UFC taking down Chepe Mariscal multiple times, controlling him throughout the fight. And I think that's going to be the game plan here of Jack Jenkins, mixing a takedown around, maybe more. So I do like the more here on Jack Jenkins, 2.5 takedowns. And then we're going to go with, this is like a more risky one because this fight I think could potentially finish, somewhat early. But, Turkalj, his takedowns is also set at 2.5. This is a guy who I think is absolutely going to wrestle, absolutely going to get the fight down to the mat. And if this fight does get extended, second, third round especially, he's going to absolutely torch this number. This is a guy in Turkalj who's averaging 7 takedowns per 15 minutes, and it just comes down to, whether or not he's able to kind of survive that early storm that Tyson Pedro is going to bring. Because obviously if this fight finishes in the first round, this 2.5 is probably going to go to the less, but I think if this fight does get extended second, third round, I think he crushes this number, and I think he gets multiple takedowns in this one there. So we'll move on to the fantasy score lastly. Not a ton sticking out here for me. I kind of don't hate like the Nasrat Haqparast fantasy score towards the more. So this is a guy in Haqparast too. I don't see him getting any takedowns, something like that, but I can see Haqparast like putting up a ton of volume in this one. Haqparast is a guy that's landing over 5 significant strikes per minute, and I think a knockout or some knockdowns are very much in play here. Haqparast has not really been a guy that's knocked out a ton of guys in the UFC, but he does have a lot of knockdowns in the UFC. I think it's like 5 or 6 knockdowns in the UFC. He's taken on Quinones, who is taking a big step up in competition here, and quite frankly, Haqparast is taking like a big step down in competition. So I think this more hits. I think Haqparast is going to let off on a ton of volume, and I think like a late knockout is very much in play as well. And then I'll throw one more out here, and it's going to be the Turkalj. Like if Turkalj wins the fight, this more hits, and it hits easily. I mean, Turkalj has a ton of upside, a ton of takedown upside here. Potential finish upside here as well. If Turkalj wins this fight, whether it's a first round, second round, third round, or even a decision, I can see him scoring this. I am personally picking Turkalj. I think he weathers that early storm against Tyson Pedro and gets the fight down to the mat and finds the finish in that second or third round. And if that does happen, he will pay off this fantasy score pretty easily there. So give me the more there for Anton Turkalj. There you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys could leave a like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your guys' favorite play down in the comments below. If you guys want to check out PrizePicks and have not already, use promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.